So you're trying to go live, but you're not. Let's see something here. Oh, okay. No, that's live. Two. This one. Okay. All right, guys. I believe we are now live on both YouTube and Facebook.
Okay. Well, to all our listeners, a slight technical delay and adjustments. So we're going to restart our introduction. However, this is Andre Hill with the Straight Talk Network, the host on the Straight Talk Morning Show. And we have a full panel coming in today of the panel of elders, the Council of Elders of the United Aboriginal American Republic. This is an Aboriginal nation in formation, in the process of forming, a indigenous Aboriginal Native American movement of reclaiming our heritage. So we're going to get started off with introductions. We have Queen Mother Brenda Allen. How are you doing this morning, Brenda?
Doing fabulous and supernatural. Kings, welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Having a fantastic day. Thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, we have Terrence Lake, our chairman from Detroit. And as I stated earlier, the Detroit Lions are kicking butts. And chairman, give me some insight. Did they change the water filter up in Detroit or what?
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing great, having a great time, looking forward to a fantastic show. But the Lions, you know, they only lost once, and I think you jinked me because I told you they were going to beat your team, and your team is the only team that beat the Lions. So all the way to the Super Bowl, and we're going to conquer that.
This will be the first Super Bowl in the history. In the history of the Lions, am I correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can stand to let the Lions have one. They deserve it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, they deserve it, man. So, all right. So also we have Mama Chief. How you doing this morning, sister?
Hello. Muted.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Great, great.
And great.
Great to see you, Mother Brenda, Queen Mother Brenda.
It's an absolute delight to see you, Mama Chief.
Yeah.
In your email. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's Mama Kelly. She's uploading to come online right now. And so, hey, Mama Chief, you know, we were up in the Atlanta area visiting you. Mama Chief laid out a wonderful dinner, and I'm still having dreams about it. Hot water cornbread was good. The chicken was good. The purple cabbage, man, what a spread!
I'll need your recipe for the cabbage, young queen.
Yes, ma'am, it's your regular cabbage. I didn't do nothing special.
No, that was special. Yeah,
well, it was because I really care, y'all. I love to cook, and so I don't see nobody coming to me, and I don't feed them. So I appreciate it. I'm honored.
All right. So also our engineer and co-host, Andre Hill Jr. Hey man, how you doing this morning?
I'm good, family. Peace and love, peace and love.
All right. So when Mama Kelly logged on, she's in the process of logging on right now. What we have here is a total of 477 years of experience. 407 years on this panel. And all of that knowledge, trials and tribulations that we all been through, this is the knowledge that we are preparing in the United Aboriginal American Republic to help build an institution to resurrect the true history of the Americans, the true history of the Aboriginals and our ancestors that were decimated and our history totally erased. Totally erased. So we're going to talk about how did that happen, you know, and how did you just kill off the people and incarcerate them and assimilate them, assimilate them to an alternative culture. It had to be demonic. It had to be evil. And as we know, the laws are common in the universe. What goes around comes around. Now, I don't think our people is up for revenge because we understand that the bad that did the horrible things to our people, to our ancestors, forcing the children of our ancestors into these schools or slave camps, reclassifying them as Negroes. All of that transpired. So we're going to talk about how did this happen. And Mama Kelly is on. Grand Rising, Mama Kelly. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm here.
All right.
Now I'm here.
So
I'm
Mama
trying
Kelly,
to get on visually, but it may take me a while. Yeah, it's a great day though. It's a great day. If you will continue to do the introductions, I don't see Mama Chief. Where is she?
I'm here, Mommy. How you doing? Good
Okay.
continuation.
Yes, I was very late getting up. I was tired yesterday
Yeah.
and I slept in a little bit, you know. I'm trying to see what this thing is trying to tell me to do. To start your video. Oh, I did tell you that later. All right. I'll have to start my video later because I haven't been able to actually put everything together. I am a little late this morning, so I hope that you will all just be very patient with me, okay?
Glad to see you, Mama Callie.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay.
Yeah,
So please, I have several things that people have to do when they get up in the morning. And I do know it's late, but I have a right to get up late. Okay.
you earned it.
Absolutely, you do.
So Mama Kelly, why are you adjusting to, you know, they've seen on the post that I sent out on Facebook, they've seen your beautiful pictures, so they have to use their imagination. But how, from your perspective, how was this evil movement that invaded the Americas, how did they completely erase our culture, our contribution, our history of the Aboriginal Native Americans? What kind of psyops did they have to use to accomplish that?
Well, they did it through murder, rape, intimidation, and they had a lot of help from people who look like us. Okay. Did you hear me?
Yes, we heard you.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
that is how it happened, and it's still happening. We still have that actually to deal with, because we as a people have not dealt with the fact that we have enemies amongst us. You guys, I'm in the kitchen. Look, I haven't had any coffee.
Okay.
So please be very patient. I have asked you to be very patient with me. Okay, this morning.
Absolutely.
Get your coffee. I'm going to Mama Chief Mama Chief. So when you think about, you think about the murder, the rape, and the issues that were used to suppress our history, you have an extensive knowledge and understanding. You were able to go back 17 generations of the Aboriginal line in your family. And I always thought that was very impressive. What kind of stories in your research were you able to determine systematically how we were totally erased from any of the censors, definitely the history books? What's your take on that? Mama Chief, you're on mute. Okay. All right. So I don't know if she's having technical difficulties. And so while she's working on that, Brenda, you are studying the historical records, and you are merging them with the African records and roots as to how all this came about. What is your perception as to how they maneuvered in totally confusing, erasing, decimating our history?
Well, there, in my opinion, and within my study of ancient history, all of our history has not been erased. There is still historical and chronological history that's been carved in stone in our ancient temples and tombs and pyramids in ancient Kemet. So it hasn't been a total eradication of our history. It's just a matter of researching and then researching the proper scholars that are telling the truth. So when it's a challenge to go back and do the research and find our history, connect the dots, and bring it forward with the truth. And so they've used a number of techniques, not only just murder, rape, mayhem, and killing and all of that, but they've also manipulated the textbooks. They wrote their story, their history, and we need to recapture our history. And that's what I am divinely instructed to do with Ma'at Sankofa African Learning Temple, which has asked that we feed the people that are starving from a lack of knowledge. But it's for those that are ready to hear the truth, know the truth, awaken their consciousness level, raise up their consciousness and frequency and vibration to receive the instruction and to receive the knowledge, and then we can overcome these generations that have oppressed us, that our people have been oppressed. So it's a matter of wanting to learn more about who we are, what we've done, what we've contributed to civilization, and then studying the chronological, the chronology of what happened with the invasions and conquerization and the destruction of our libraries. So taking an in-depth look, I think, will help us to remedy the sleep that we have been in for over 400 years.
Okay. Chairman, did you get a chance to see the video I sent out on the chronological order of the history of the Aboriginals? And I meant to ask you that before we got on air.
Okay. I don't recall. You have to bring it back to my remembrance.
So it well, what we're looking for, and if you can reflect on what's going on in Detroit, is there a movement, or have you met people that are still trying to hold on to our Aboriginal status, other than that? You know, we in our society, we used to talk about different people, and we would say, "Oh, they got a little Indian in them." So what is the flavor there in Detroit in terms of recognizing that we didn't all come over here on the boats? We was already here.
That's true. And what I recognize is with the Muslim community, they're historically inclined to the past. They are putting it out, to society, especially on social media, about the inventions and things that we've done collectively. Every now and then you do run across other pages where people are, bringing out the real history of all the things that we've done, like the traffic light and the space program and medicine and the heart, artificial heart, and you can go on and on and on. So it's nothing new to me because I've read a lot of things on it. But I think overall, Black people know that we're very creative and we've done a lot of things and contributed to the social upward mobility of society. And a lot of Caucasian brothers and sisters, they're acknowledging it also. And they're telling the truth about the past, and you could listen to some of them and they'll blow you away. You would, if you weren't looking at their face and the way they were speaking and giving you all this information, you'd think they were original Aboriginal people. But yeah, it's the people in Detroit are aware. We're a very diverse group of people. We're into some of everything, from one extreme to the other. And like Mama uh, Kelly was saying, that some of us are on the opposite side. They tend to hold us back and exploit us for their own gain, you know. And that's why I say we're diverse. We're from one extreme to another, but we are upwardly moving and we're conquering what we will. And especially this younger generation, you just can't stop them. You can't stop them.
But if they are interested in learning the truth, I think for the most part, when you just simply ask the universe for the truth, just simply that, please give me the truth, you will be directed on a divine pathway to learning about your history. And I've often heard people here in Tampa say that we were already here in America before the slave ships. And yes, that I'm sure is true. But from my understanding, the oldest living fossil that they found was in Africa, and her name is, they called her Lucy, but her Kemetic name was Deknesh, and she was a Black female and with a highly melanated mitochondria DNA that helped to populate the human race from out of Africa. So um, verifiably, when we can make that verification that during that time, thousands, millions of years ago, when she lived, the land masses were together that connected the Americas with Mother Africa, and migration from out of Africa took place, and people were able to walk from one land mass to the other. And therefore, if we want to understand the facts, we must verify that. There's some old, probably ancient maps that could show us what the topography was during millions of years ago. So when people want to deny that they're not African, if you can understand that human life started on that on that landmass, then all of us are from Africa and migrated to other areas, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. And that's why when so-called Columbus discovered what he thought, where he thought he was in America, and he saw people there, the Native Americans or the Aborigines, they were there and already a civilization, and proof that they had knowledge and technological knowledge from their ancestors by the mere fact that they built pyramids and temples and the Olmec heads. So, but it can all be traced back to ancient Egypt and ancient Africa, or Akibalon. So learning that, we've been studying what's called the book entitled The Stolen Legacy. And chronologically, we could see what happened with the knowledge not being totally erased, but you have to put in some work to find it. When you really want to know the truth, you'll be guided to it.
So Brenda, you know, and you and I have had this conversation. You know, as we build a institution for the young people, they want to hear how we, you know, how we're going to get them out of the hamster wheel that they're in right now. To pay their rent, you know, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,200 a month on the low end. You know, the car notes, food is going through the roof. So they're looking forward to us to build an institution to extract them out, because we understand that the culture that has enslaved us is still in place, and we need to confront it directly. You know, the things that we talked about was that as Aboriginals in the Americas, long before, after the land divide, we in order for us to reclaim our heritage and our land, we got to deal from a geological perspective of the Americas. Mama Kelly, did you get your coffee, and are you ready to chime in yet?
Actually, I got off the phone and I'm trying to adjust to my laptop right now. So I do have my coffee, but I'm still trying to get it together. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not that good at all of these things. And so Marcus read, I don't know why they want to cover my screen with something else that I don't want there. But I'm still working on it, but I am on the call right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Wow.
So let me see. No, let's see. What does that do? I'm still on the call, but
Okay.
I want to kind of make a comment, and you see, all the time, constantly, there is new information coming, especially now that we've moved out of the Piscean age of deception and illusions and into the age of Aquarius, which is knowledge, you know, and truth. We have learned that actually Lucy, this is the information we got when the Velikis actually so-called discovered her remains, bones for Lucy, they called her, in the Great Rift Valley of Ethiopia. I visited there some years ago. But they have since found a truly human, because she was not Homo erectus erectus. Okay, Lucy was not Homo erectus erectus, but they have found a Homo erectus erectus right here in the Americas. I forget her, I'm not sure if she's a Lady of Guadalupe. I'm not sure about that. So I will not say what the name is, but it is more recent information that they have found. And she is actually a completely human, but much older than what they have given us as far as the Lucy that, and of course, she being um, uh, in the Americas. I think that you might have seen that map that I used in some of my videos, which of course we had that Pangea. And there is another one that I use that in that area of Brazil, they call it octathon. Well, this is the area where I think that's the area where they found the the Homo erectus erectus. I have to, since I wasn't prepared to speak on that, I really can't say what her name was. I would have to go back and look at my notes. But this is what they are saying now, that the oldest female actually has been found, and she is Homo erectus erectus, in other words, modern human, but is older than the leaky version that we have heard with Lucy. Now, this is more recent information, and I'm sure a lot of people have not heard that yet. And she does have that mitochondria DNA, that we melanated women, the octathons or the autochthonous ones, she does have that mitochondria DNA. Also, they have found that the oldest Y chromosome, which is the male chromosome, they have found that, and they haven't made a whole lot of the so-called, when I say they, I'm speaking about so-called science or Western science. They have also found that the oldest Y chromosome is here in North America, actually just a few hundred miles from me. So, brother by the name of Albert Perry in South Carolina. Now, that moved the timeline from what they call Adam showing up on Earth and moving it from, I think it was 200 and some, around 250,000 years, now to 330,000 years. And that is information that was published in a scientific journal. And so it's not like it's not known, it's just that it's not known by us, because generally we do not read those scientific journals. But my dear brother, who has passed to the ancestors, Minister Clemson Brown, who did Tap Video Transatlantic Productions, he was able to find the brother who was exposing that information, because he was a scientist who actually, had that scientific publication. Now, the way that they look at us and suppress us, naturally, the last thing they want the world to know is that those people, or the men who have been so disrespected and who have been so brutalized, since the coming of the European invaders, the conquistadors, they don't want the world to know that actually we are, or our men are the Octothons or the Aboriginal men on Earth.
Whoa.
Okay. So this is some of the latest information that is now available, and it is correct that the land masses were together at one time. And actually, I learned something yesterday about the continent of Mu, but we won't get into that right now. I'm still trying to drink my coffee. Okay.
Enjoy, Queen.
Serious knowledge in between sips of coffee. But Mama Kelly, so we need to focus in. It's one thing that our people are waking up all over the Americas. They are getting bits and pieces of information. What? We didn't all come over on the boats. We were already here. And some of the blackamoors from Europe really started this mess, and then when our ancestors turned down their deal when they came over initially, before the Caucasians came over, we wasn't feeling whatever offer they made to us. Do you know the offer the Blackamoors made to our ancestors here in America that we must have rejected? And then in turn, they sent the Caucasians that was more barbaric to decimate us?
Were you asking me?
Yes.
Mm. Well, the conquistadors were mostly the Moors and the Sephardic Jews who had been expelled from Spain and Portugal. That's who the original conquistadors were. And they had to get out of Spain and Portugal. And they were melanated people, the Moors and the Sephardic Jews. And they were melanated. And after they were kicked out of Spain and Portugal, they had to find another place to go. And they were aware of the existence of the Americas because, the Moors were the international merchants, and they had sailed the seas, and the reasons why the other Europeans knew of the existence of the Americas. And you can find that in the so-called you can find that information in the so-called Greek writings, that they knew about this place on the other side of the big water. So they had to hit the road, and they came over here because they were able to get, just start plantations. They were the first plantations. Let's see, and they started with sugar because sugar was highly valued. It was almost like gold in Europe. And so they started the sugar plantations. And they were, and as they moved out of Europe, because they did travel, all of them didn't leave Spain and Portugal. Some of them, they traveled to other parts of Europe. And many of those parts of Europe were very happy to see them because they were merchants and they did have products that the people couldn't find in Europe. And so those that were on the move, the Sephardic Jews and the Moors that were on the move throughout Europe, they called them the Huguenots. And so they moved throughout, and they were welcomed in many places because of their proficiency in banking and in insurance, because all of the trading ships had to be insured, and sometimes they call them slave ships, and that has almost completely been debunked. But they're still putting that false information out. And so they traveled, and they were able to actually establish businesses throughout Europe and increase their plantations throughout the Americas. Brazil was the islands, the Caribbean islands were the first places where they began. And then, of course, one of the oldest plantations in America is right here in Savannah, and it was a melanated brother who, was he? I don't remember whether he was a Moor or a Sephardic Jew. So much stuff in your head, sometimes you get it gets mixed up, especially if you just got up and haven't had your coffee. and I have to have time in the morning to get myself together so that my brain is actually functioning well. But Savannah, yeah, that was a place where, one of the very first plantations in America. And it was a brother. Well, I won't call him a brother. It was one of those uh, Sephardic Jews or Moors. I'm not sure which one he was. And so, and they did have slave labor, but they didn't bring them from Africa. That's the slave, they enslaved the indigenous people here. And so a lot of people are not aware of that because we continue to get this disinformation through movies, television. They be pushing that stuff so that we can continue to be unaware of who we are. And so, that is, I've forgotten what you were trying to connect with my answering. What was that? Could you restate it?
Well, no, I think you basically covered what, we're focusing on the reconstruction of our history, of the true history. And it's critical, because we got my son on here. He's from the generation that's going to implement a lot of this stuff. And I was trying to find out from him as well, hey man, what do you need to hear from this council of elders? What do we need to? So you know that the history has been obscured through and manipulated intentionally for to keep us in disarray. Your generation is totally discombobulated with all of this right now. So what does your generation need from this council of elders to get you guys back on track?
I'll be honest, I thought you asked me that last week.
So you had time to think about it.
I thought I already answered it. All right. What do I need? What does my generation need from this council of elders? In reference to the topic at hand, the continuation and diligence of uncovering the right information and or the truth. All right. Because I'll say this, and we were kind of having this conversation before we started the podcast. But I'll say this, my generation is we grew up with the new communication system, which is the internet, meaning we were able to find information a lot faster than your generation was, and
Very true.
put together pieces of information that come from all over the world. I mean, you look at it like this, and this is all in all due respect. Your generation was limited to books, and now mind you, I still listen. I still hold books in much higher regard than a lot of information that is on the internet. But it comes down to who wrote that book and why. But the diligence of your generation to find and reveal the truth, and also convey to my generation the information that y'all have brought forth over your entire lives, the wisdom that you brought forth over your entire lives, that will confirm what we have now searched extensively. So let me give you an example. You remember when I started this journey, and me and you both kind of got into it this way. When I started searching for the truth about us being Aboriginals, I ran across a group of us who were very astute in uncovering this information. They've already, I'll give them this credit. The tribe Arna, the tribal government Arna. I learned a great amount of information from them regarding Aboriginal history here in Americas. They've found most of the information, well, a good deal of the information that is uncovering what we're talking about here and now. So much so to the point to where, I'm confident enough. I don't even argue or debate with a lot of people anymore, because I know it's, finding this information is difficult. And if you don't have access to it, you're going to only, believe and or think you know what you know until you're ready to accept some other things. But landing this plane, bringing it all back in, y'all's generation confirming what we have, like Mama Callie said, discovered and unveiled as far as new information of truth has come forth. And y'all's confirmation of it revitalizes or repairs the connection between my generation and your generation. Because, and let me qualify that really fast. We don't want to disconnect between our generation and your generation based on us dying on the heels of two different ideologies, based on what we are, right? It's almost as similar to a lot of my generation leaving the church versus, you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right. So you got a lot of my generation who's saying, listen, that stuff that's going on inside the church, it just doesn't resonate with me. But I still respect my mother and my grandmother, my grandfather and my father. I respect them, but I can't connect with them on that old paradigm that they're attached to. So saying all of that to say this, the confirmation of this subject matter we're talking about here, because my generation is looking into it in depth and trying to figure it out, and they would be ecstatic to know that there's a group of elders that are saying, hey, not only do we agree with you and confirm that, but let me give you some insight into what we know, experienced, and discovered as well.
Okay. All right. So, and that question can be asked a few more times in the future, but it's now to the point where there's an acknowledgement among all of our generation. There is an awakening. There is a tsunami on the horizon of melanated people recognizing, hell, we've been asking to borrow money for equal rights and all these things, as if we were the stepchildren of this land, when we are the keepers of this land. We are the original people, and we were decimated. So one other thing, Mama Kelly, and this is the real critical part of why we must establish ourselves as a nation of one, of Aboriginal people.
What was the question?
So what is the encouragement? What is the benefit of us, of all the melanated people in the Americas establishing themselves as one nation of Aboriginal people?
I'm not quite sure that we will see that in our generation, because there is so much divide amongst us.
Yes.
But we will put a hole in it. And what I think is that as we are seeing this system fall apart and the infighting amongst the colonizers, this is our time to make our big moves. Because at least if the people are looking at what's happening day to day, they will know and understand that those who they had believed to have power over us and to determine our destinies, they will see that they really don't have any power at all. They are fighting each other for supremacy right now. I mean, they are shooting each other in the back, in the public right now. And I mean, we should see that as more than it's deeper than just somebody coming along and being mad at somebody and shooting them down. You have to look behind the curtain and look at the person and see what's happening with that person. And why is this person who's supposed to be so powerful is being shot down in the street just like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ask questions. You have to look and see what is really happening. Okay? And a lot of times we don't ask those questions. That's why we're still in the condition that we're in, because we don't ask questions. And a lot of times we don't even know what the current events are because we're too busy acting a fool on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can find a lot of things, truth on the internet, but you can find a lot of falsehood. And you can also find a lot of dysfunctional conversations and, just foolishness happening on the internet. And so it depends on what you actually click on, what you're going to get, you see. And so our people have to be encouraged to actually look deeper into things if they want to survive. Now, let me tell you, the way things are going now in this war between the secret societies, because that's exactly what it is, a war between the secret societies here in America. And of course, though some of them are trying to oust the European domination over here. they're trying to get rid of the new dominance that the European royal families and the banksters have had sway over the Americas. You see, it's more or less Albert Pike's people, and Albert Pike, what is it? Something in Dogma, that book he wrote. Albert Pike, KKK. Let's see, Morals and Dogma. That particular secret society that is working to eliminate the European dominance, you see, but they're still not our friends. And so we should take this time ourselves to liberate ourselves and stop acting foolish and doing stupid things, on the internet, but to actually try to use that time to learn.
May I interject? From my practical and logical way of thinking, many times we have had to bring civilization to the mass people, time and time again. And as Mama Callie has just stated, when we see this illusionist matrix start to crumble, and it will crumble, we must, to answer your question, King Andre, we must be ready and in place to rebuild our society on every aspect of law, liberty, relationships, banking, everything that affects us for living harmoniously on this planet. And that's what we must help the people understand, that we must rebuild and reconstruct a society of righteousness, justice, harmony, peace, love, reciprocity, order, and balance, and rebuild it and reconstruct it so that we live in a harmonious situation with Mother Nature. And that's what I've been called to help us with. Now, will I get to see a utopia at the end of my lifespan here? I certainly hope so, because I want to be able to see the fruit of my labor on starting this day, to know that my 4-year-old great-grandson 50 years from now will be outside of the hamster wheel because of the effort that we took on today, that says, I don't have to do a 9 to 5. I don't need 5 jobs to try to stay on this land. I do have my rights. I do have my peace. I do have my protection. And let's create this utopia that I see happening. And if we can convince the younger generations, young King Andre, to see that vision, yes, then we all start to work in that harmonious way. And Mother Nature and our benevolent angelic guardians will help bring us to that goal, to what we see the world being like.
Absolutely. So, Chairman, do you have some closing words on the benefits of us becoming one nation and correcting this wrong?
Okay, saying one nation, I look at it as one planet of human beings. They're what you call the Akashic records. I'm quite sure all you know about that. That can't be disputed. Certain things that have took place on this planet, you can't change it. It's happened, and we are part of that. And we came from somewhere to planet Earth. We were brought here, and blacks were put here first. We went and navigated the whole planet Earth and chose Africa to be our home. even though some of us settled in North America, but Africa is the most fruitful place on this planet to exist. And what we got to realize is that how we were brought here, we're here, okay? And we got to learn how to live in harmony with each other. Now, our Caucasian brothers came after us. That's why they say they discovered this and they discovered that. In their minds, yes, they did discover it, but we were already here, and that's a known fact. But we've got to learn how to live in harmony with each other. And it's starting to happen more so now, because in the past, when our Caucasian brothers first came to the planet Earth, they thought they were the gods, and their books show that they thought they were more superior than every other culture on this planet. You know, even in our Constitution in the United States, it classified us as being 3/5 of a man. You know, where if you look at the picture, everything that we get involved in, we basically dominate. Not saying that we're better than them, but we do things better in a lot of ways, and they copy after us. But we have got to come together and, you know, draw our strength, and we'll have a lot of Caucasians that will follow our lead because they know the truth is the truth, and they're bringing it out more and more. And that's my opinion, and I'll land the plane.
And
Absolutely.
just as the Moors, they civilized a lot of people in Europe, we'll have to do it 2 times over. So now we're ready to do it a 3rd time.
So,
Whatever it takes.
if we were connecting with our ancient ancestors or our ancient extraterrestrial ancestors, I'd look at this whole scenario from that perspective. And I'm not looking down on the human civilization, but as an observer. This is a test that every civilization throughout the universe must pass. And we're right at that precipice. You have to take inventory of your soul, your personal soul. What am I? Am I here to be recognized by man of having an elaborate house or 12 cars or expensive this, shiny things and all that? Or am I here to serve as within an equation of balance, of equality, to evolve as a species? If you continue, individual melanated people, if you continue on the track of your own selfish agendas, of what's mine, my children this, I got to look out, you know, I got mine, you need to get yours. If you continue on that path, you will die. You will face destruction. But we're at the precipice now where you need to put down all those divisive measures that were used effectively by an advanced civilization, but it's a low frequency advanced civilization who made the wrong choice in their solar system. And so they had to come to a planet like this and scavenge your emotions and your resources because they made the wrong decision. That's who you following. If you're still working within these Luciferian systems. So at this juncture, what we are encouraging, this council of elders, we are prepared to provide you with the technology, the understanding of how to convert this system from a discombobulated system, a dysfunctional system, to a system of balance, of love, equality, and respect for each other. So that's where we are as a species. That's the choice we have to make. We're asking, this council of elders, like I said earlier, is 407 years of experience on this planet. Well, my son took it over to 400 years, and he's not an elder, but he's upper management, and he's a Juris Doctor, and he's studying the different means and ways of how we reestablish ourselves as a people, as a species, you know. So that's a lot of experience. We need more elders to join us. We need more elders to understand what the agenda and the objective is. So join us. Go to uaaranation.org. Send us an email. that you're interested. We have an upcoming seminar where we're going to explain all this technology and the adjustment in our history. And so Mama Kelly just came on. She's got a coffee and she's got a live picture. Mama Kelly, what are your closing thoughts?
Some moves have been made, and we have to be aware and even support those moves. And these are things that have just recently happened. And I mentioned it yesterday on a talk, and that was the 2 eviction notices that have been given.
Yes.
And one eviction notice was given to the foreign occupiers of the District of Columbia. You know, a lot of people don't know that the District of Columbia, which we know as Washington, has actually been pretty much vacated since 2019. Now, many of the offices have been closed. Many of and they put barriers around them. Congress, you know, Federal Reserve, the Capitol, all of those places. And they have built up alternative spaces where they can pretend, the Biden administration can pretend that they are government. And one of those places is right up the street from me here, you know, at the Tyler Perry studio. He's got a White House up there. And much of what we see as happening at the White House is actually happening in Atlanta, you know. And so a lot of people are not aware of that. And so even the United States of America Incorporated has not existed since 2019. And what they did, the Democrats, and I'm not favoring one over the other, okay? I'm just giving facts. They went and formed an alternative corporation called the White House. And that is what Biden has, or the avatar called Biden. There are about 3 of them or 4 of them. And, you know, they have been operating as the White House, not the United States of America, you know, and because we don't pay attention, you know, they've gotten away with it. And now one of our Moorish brothers actually have given them an eviction notice saying that they must vacate that 10 square miles called Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, because it is a foreign corporation. It was created in 1871 as corporation by the Vatican. So it was all wrong in the first place, as we don't have a republic. They had organized the 2 corporations that created the 13 colonies and called it the United States. The 2 corporations, you know, they were, oh goodness, they created a republic, and that republic was ousted after the so-called Civil War. Now, there's so much disinformation, and there's so much, so many lies about what the United States was and who did what, and it was all fraud. And so the brother named Mustafa, I think his name was Mustafa El Bey, he gave them an eviction notice. And people will say, okay, well, how is it that the Moors can actually oust this foreign corporation? Well, because it was the Moors that helped to actually create it. That republic was created by the Northwest Trading Company, and I think it was the Northwest Trading Company and the Virginia Company. They were two companies doing business, and they created the 13 colonies and called it a republic. So we have been so misinformed about everything that we have to just pretty much take a fan and blow all that mess out of our brains, because it's false information, and sometimes it's very hard to do, especially by those who think they learned something with those letters behind their name. I realized, when I did graduate from college with a Bachelor of Science degree, I realized I didn't know anything. And ever since, I have actually been on the path of learning, and I'm still not there. The thing that I enjoy the most about living is the fact that I can learn something new every day. I didn't know until was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, that that eviction notice had been given, you know? And a lot of our people, are pissed off at the Moors because they were our original the indigenous people were enslaved by the Moors first here in America. And so a lot of the indigenous people are angry at the Moors for that. You see? So yeah, he had a right to do that. But there's so much more to the story. And we have to continue to learn and keep our minds open to new information, because we have to get rid of all that other stuff. It's just garbage. It's garbage in our minds. It's garbage in our heads. So that's what we have to do. Mama Chief, I'm sure she can add something to it.
Great continuation, y'all. I don't see myself, but how y'all doing? Thank you for having me. Yeah, I was thinking about when you was talking about the shutdown and how long it's been shut down, which is an absolutely fact that I was speaking with someone today and they was telling me that once Trump get in around between April or something, everybody's going to be getting their trust. And I mean, they listen to that other side. And, I was just thinking earlier how that everything is offshore now. And you said it's been like this for a long time. I don't know whether anybody have Georgia. Yeah, y'all got Georgia Power because y'all on the same line we're on. Georgia Power has been offshore since a long time. Every time you call them, you don't speak to anybody on land. You're speaking to someone offshore. Even Humana, my transportation, they did it too. I had to call and talk to someone offshore to get my ride. So at that point, I was like, okay, I don't need that anymore, because I was like, okay, this is crazy. Everything is offshore. So yeah, you're correct in everything you said. I've just been listening, and I just support you elders, because y'all my elders too. And I support you. Anything I can do, I will. But I just want to say this to you too. With my protection of you, I'm standing down in a lot of things I've been doing, because I'm being attacked because of my information online. And I'm just gonna stand down and let y'all do what y'all do, but y'all know where I'm at, and keep me, informed, because I don't want y'all to catch nothing that's coming for me. You understand? And I love you guys, and I just want to support in any way I can. That's always been my goal here. I've known Mama Kelly for 14 years, and I've always supported whatever I could. So that's just all I have to say in closing.
Well, thank you much, Mama Chief. One of the things before we close out, I like to, there is technology that we will acquire as a collective mindset. We will acquire this because a lot, you know, we know of the Rosewood, the Tulsa, Oklahoma, and almost 100 other cities that were attacked by these demonic forces. And so what we understand now, there's a higher frequency. We're not going to be operating from the frequency they handed down to us, because every time we pray to the artificial God they created, it empowers their God. But we understand even a higher frequency. And all you metaphysical people out there know what I'm talking about. We're going to tap into that frequency, and we're going to build protection around all the systems that we're developing. And any of those demons that transgress against that, they will be instantly destroyed. And you have to understand and know that is going to happen. And we do that as a collective. We have an upcoming seminar with Mama Kelly, Mama Chief, with Mother Brenda, the chairman Terrace, and my son, and a few other people from Detroit are coming in, and we're going to be organizing this tsunami so that it's effective, so that our children can understand we're leaving them something. We're not taking a position we can't learn, or we're not listening to the younger generation. We know what you're going through. My son is on here. He tells me every day from what he's hearing in his community. So go to UAARnation.org, sign up, put your name in so we can send you notices on the upcoming seminar. Because if you miss that seminar, you might as well go join these demonic cultures and prepare for that ass whooping. I hate to put it to you that way, but it's coming, you know, because it's called karma. And in our old neighborhoods, is what comes around goes around. that's the law of the universe. On that note, hey, I'll let that engineer close us out. And it's been my honor to work with this panel. Thank you.
And I will blanket the whole entire planet with my love.
Take us on out.
All righty. I think it was a beautiful show. I'm looking forward to seeing this panel next week and furthermore. But this has been the Straight Talk Network show. We love y'all. Peace and love. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.
Peace.
Okay.